Hi, my name is Seth.
And I'm Youjin.
She's a German costume designer. I'm an American opera singer. We live in Berlin.
And we're having a baby during a pandemic.
Stick around for Seth Learn Dad. So here we are, starting this thing, this weird little adventure. Sorry, my dude. We are leaving our apartment and walking to the OBGYN today. What's happening today?
So we're going to our third ultrasound appointment today, which means they'll measure all sorts of different things, you know, head circumference and his limbs and hopefully a new picture of the boy.
Absolutely. So this is, you said, the third one. We the first one I couldn't be there because I was at a concert in Tennessee. But then the second one we got to be there, and it's amazing, coolest thing. But ever since the pandemic took over in Germany and everything's been closed down, I haven't been able to go to any OBGYN appointments at all, which has been kind of weird. What is the experience been like in the doctor's office since the coronavirus thing?
So it's not too crazy. I mean, they started putting up these plastic shields at the reception. You know, you have to keep your distance, and I feel like they are taking fewer patients at a time.
Okay.
So the waiting room is pretty empty. It's kind of sad that you can't come with me.
Yeah.
Because I got so used to having you there always. Because it just gets boring sometimes in the waiting room. Yes. But that's the main difference.
Yeah. I mean, we've been pretty lucky before, up until then, at least. I think because of the type of work that I do, and rehearsals, of course, are not. You know, it's not a 9-to-5 kind of job. So I've been able to be at a lot of appointments, more so than if I had a real job. But it's very strange for me because, like you said, I got used to being able to have the flexibility of joining you,
Right.
and then all of a sudden to be told no, you have to sit at home and wait for a response. How do you feel about today?
I feel good. I'm feeling positive, and I feel that the baby is healthy. He's moving a lot. You know, I haven't had any complications or problems. So I think today is just going to be a routine visit, and
Good. And I will sit outside on the street and wait and let my mind go and worry. So I found a little park near the doctor's office. I'm just sitting here waiting. I just want to talk a bit about, it's a bit weird, this experience, as it is for everybody, of course. We've been talking a lot about like anticipation and worry and uncertainty in this time. You know, it's like everybody's dealing with that. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows when things will go back to normal. Nobody knows. Some people are starting to be able to go back to work, but for us, you know, for singers, it's like, who knows how long this is going to take. We were the first ones out, and I feel like we might be the last ones back, but there's nothing we can do about it. And that's something that translates pretty well to becoming a parent, I think, you know. And Youjin and I have talked a lot about the different ways in which we worry, and she says the things that scare her are the things like, will the baby be healthy, will the baby whatever have any problems that we can't predict. And it's interesting because that stuff doesn't really worry me because I can't do anything about it. And what scares me is that I'm gonna screw it up somehow, you know. I'm gonna make mistakes, of course, as everyone does, but I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to do the job right. And so it's good that we're together because we kind of balance each other out. She worries about the other kinds of things and I worry about that. But the good news is the things that I worry about hopefully are things I can learn. Yeah, so that's it. But you throw on top of the general normal anxiety of becoming a parent, you throw on top this uncertainty about what's happening with our world and what's happening with our business, the opera business, and it's strange. It's a weird time to have to sit and like here, literally just sit, and there's nothing I can do. You know, what's my part in this process at this point? Can I help in any way other than just being supportive? And of course, right now the answer is no. So that's what I have to just keep doing. So she made it out. How was it?
Everything's normal, everything's fine. He's currently 41 centimeters long and 1,500 grams.
1,500 grams, yeah?
Yeah. Something happened though while I was in there. I had to wait because while she was checking me, there was an emergency patient coming in, and so I had to go back. I had to wait a couple more minutes. The poor girl was sitting across from me in the waiting room because they had to disinfect after me. But then it turned out she was fine. She came out like 5 minutes later, and yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was a scare. She was crying. And,
oh boy.
Yeah, everything's
Well, good. We're glad she's okay.
Yeah.
Glad you're okay.
I'm okay.
All right, let's just jump right in though. So I'm talking today to Nicole Carr and Etienne Dupuis, two of my favorite people and two of my favorite singers. And I'm so grateful that they're here. And let's just jump right in. Like, guys, where are you from? Dumbest interview question ever, but where are you from?
Well, firstly, thanks for having us. This is fun.
Thank you, Seth.
Well, I'm Australian and
I'm
he's
Canadian.
and
French Canadian.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm from Melbourne and he's from just outside of Montreal.
Just Montreal is fine.
Okay, Montreal. He's from Montreal.
He's from Montreal. So how on earth did an Australian and a French Canadian end up together?
The lovely world of opera. That's how it happened.
That's right. Yeah. by being cast in the same show. Were you there at that time, Seth? You were around.
Yes, Seth was there.
You were around.
I may have been there. I may have been around when all that happened, and I may or may not already have photos to put up right now at this point in the interview showing you guys together.
Oh man,
it was great. We had such a cool opportunity to sing together in Berlin.
Yeah.
And so my contract for the ending came in relatively last minute, and I remember Christoph Zofeller saying, "Oh, you're really going to like your Oniega, Nicole. He's a charmer. You should watch out." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll watch out for that."
Yes. Little did she know. Little did I know.
He really is a charmer.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think charming is one thing, but finding the love of your life is something else. So, I didn't expect that at all.
Oh man.
Surprise!
Where's home now? You've both had places in multiple continents. Where?
So we're in Paris now. Yeah. So that is home. Yeah. So we still have an apartment in Berlin.
We own all of this.
We have a very large loan on all of this little square. No, I mean, it was really important for us to have a home base. Like, a lot of freelancers live out of suitcases for so long. Really?
We have a home.
We got a dog.
You definitely have a home.
Say hi, Lily. Exactly.
Little girl.
She was just sleeping at my feet.
Yeah.
Cute.
But it was really important to us, especially because Etienne's first language is French. We wanted to find.
It
You
is.
speak French?
Not according to the French, it isn't.
You're too clever. Stop it. Enough.
But no, we've been, especially because we had so many contracts in Paris last year. It was really great to actually be in our own home and, to not be living out of a suitcase and to buy things and know that they can stay in the one place. It's been kind of rare.
Any
nice.
freelance artist will know how true that is, to know that you have a place where your stuff is.
Like, I can buy salt and pepper and it'll just live there.
That's exactly it. It's like salt and pepper and olive oil are the things that you have. You have that in so many different countries. It's crazy.
I know.
That was interesting because we bought the house long after we've had Noah. So for when when he was born, we
Oh my
received
gosh.
gifts for 0 to 3 months, 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to 9 months, 9 months to 12 months, and up.
I
Right?
traveled with a suitcase full of giant Ziploc bags that were all written on it, Noah clothes, 0 to 3 months, or onesies, 3 to 6 months. I mean, and because you want to use them,
Well,
of course, and we couldn't leave them anywhere. We had to travel with them because
we were
don't know
gone
how
for because we were gone
we were
for
gone
a
for-
year and a half.
we were gone for 15 months, yeah. And so we knew that we had to take everything with us, and babies grow at different times. And anyway, so just as we went, the Ziploc bags got smaller, and we would send Etienne's parents, poor things,
It
home
got better.
with them to Montreal. And
But every airport we landed in, I was counting my 9 pieces of luggage before I left the airport.
nine pieces of luggage.
And
well, think about it. You've got the pram, the baby bed, the Noah's big suitcase.
He had 2.
He had a big suitcase and a small suitcase.
Yeah.
We each had a suitcase with some
Stuff
of Noah's things. I have a case since my child's been born of my own things.
And then there's all the bags you carry on board with you, with the baby.
And then carry-ons for each of us.
Includes food and
Diapers.
nappies and diapers.
The first time we flew, because we were in Australia when he was 4 months old, and when we were flying back to London, I had packed 4 outfits for him just in case. I mean, he's always been really good. He did the biggest kind of punami you've ever seen at the airport in Sydney. I had to change him twice at Sydney Airport, and then we still had Hong Kong and London to get to. I was like, oh no.
By the time we got to London, he was naked.
He literally was in a nappy and a bib that the vet line had given us.
For my American friends, a nappy is a diaper. Just want to clarify that.
Sorry, yes, diaper. He wears
That's
diaper.
why I almost said.
You did
I was like Niper. No, wait. That's.
I'd like to turn it away a little bit from the most fun subject to asking you, Nicole. Did you work much while you were pregnant? And what was that like?
I worked up until I was 7 and a bit months pregnant. The way that the season fell that year was really cool because I ended up doing 3 Così fan tuttes in a row, and 2 of them were brand new productions. So I worked on each of them. We started one Così in Australia, and I was like just pregnant, and that was in some ways the hardest one because I was so nauseous the whole time. And it was a David McVicker production. It was very energetic. It had us running around, and I couldn't tell anyone I was pregnant because I was only maybe 8 weeks, 9 weeks. But I remember not knowing how anyone didn't know I was pregnant because I literally sat in a chair one day and fell asleep in the middle of rehearsals. And
we're talking like a 7-minute break,
Yeah, it was like Dorabella and Guglielmo's duet before Per Pietà, and I fell asleep in a chair. Anyway, it was hard being so nauseous, and you just don't feel like yourself, especially for the first few months. There's so many hormonal changes going through.
I was nauseous too, but it's because you made me prepare crumpets with Vegemite on.
Oh, they were delicious. But I didn't realize at the time, but
that's the appropriate reaction.
Vegemite's so good.
It's the crumpets I don't like.
That's a lie. You didn't
Really?
Vegemite. But my sense of smell had been so altered as well, which I didn't realize until after the pregnancy. And so I found everything really unsavory. So I would make Etienne's meals, but not want to eat them. And like, it was just.
Well, you made a meal for both of us. It's just.
But then I just couldn't eat it.
The whole time you were like, oh, it's. Yeah. I'm like, you prepared it. It didn't matter. It's such a strong feeling that everything was repugnant to you.
And I was really tired in the 2nd trimester. So when we did the new Così fan tutte at the Deutsche Oper, it was very tiring for me. But by the time I got to the 3rd trimester and the other Così fan tutte in Dresden, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Like, I liked feeling him kind of moving around and kicking around with singing. And I mean, it altered my breath control a little bit, but I didn't sing up until kind of, 8.5 months. He wasn't that big at that point. So it wasn't so bad.
Well, it's not about him. It's your tummy wasn't that big. It took a long time before your belly really came out.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true.
It
was good. Now, can I ask you a question, Seth?
Maybe.
Are you the interviewer?
So, how do you like it once she falls asleep to put your hands on her tummy and feel all the kicks and punches?
It's amazing. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Right.
Like, and how specific it is, like before that, I had felt people's babies kick before, but it was always just kind of like a little, but now when you just feel like a specific limb, like sweeping by your hand, it's just the most amazing thing in the world. I could just sit there and just pay attention to that all day.
I knew it. It's the most beautiful feeling. My favorite part too is that she's sound asleep and the baby's going, and I'm like, she's gonna wake up any second now. She's like, it was perfect.
What about after the birth? As far as working again?
The only problem I found, especially in the first few months singing, is that we just didn't sleep at all. Like no sleep. And so you'd be doing a full, 2.5, 3 hour show on zero, absolutely zero. So you just have to find the energy somewhere.
There's one of those shows in Tatiana, when you were singing Tatiana, I was in the dressing room with Noah, who was yelling at the top of his lungs for a good hour and a half. I was trying to warm up the milk. I was taking care of the baby. Our parents were there, but they were seeing that performance. And Nicole comes backstage, and by that time he's fallen asleep out of crying too much, which is absolutely normal for a baby. And Nicole comes in the dressing room, is like, everything okay? I'm like, yep, everything's fine. And she goes, I never thought the easiest part of my day would be to go on stage. And I think that's absolutely, because you know what to do on stage. But with a baby, you become the world's worst detective.
World's worst detective?
Yeah, because you have no idea what's going on. You're like, I think it must be that.
Yeah. And everyone is chiming in. So you're like, it's fed, the baby's fed, it's slept, and it's been changed, and it's still crying, and you're shaking it in different positions.
Not shaking the baby.
No, not shaking the baby, but you're
never shake the baby.
You're rocking it in different positions, trying to, and it's still crying. And then there's like the mother-in-law, the neighbor, the brother.
Everyone has an opinion.
Everyone has an opinion. Turns out my bro was the one that came, and his wife came by, and they started doing squats with the baby in their hands, and it saved everything. Because it was the closest movement to what he feels in the belly. So that calms them down.
Oh, interesting. Good to know. So on the technology front, what do you guys, as most people watching this know, are very big, important superstar opera singers who have big publicity machines on social media. How do you feel about presenting your child in that world? Like, do you feel the desire to keep him private, away from that public life, or what?
Yes.
We made the very conscious decision not to put him on social media.
We'll mention his name.
We'll mention his name. People know that he exists.
We'll see pictures of him from his face hidden.
Yeah. So, for example, Etienne put a photo up a couple of months ago when I was cooking in the kitchen with Noah, but we never see his face. And we really wanted to, it's the people leave themselves really open in the social media world, and that's a choice that you can make as an adult, but it's not a choice that you can make as a child. And I certainly don't want Noah to grow up and be resentful because there's a photo of him, doing whatever, which he didn't give consent for when he was younger. And so we made the choice to do that. And I mean, we're very happy to talk about our experiences as parents. We're very happy to talk about, our child and our experiences with that. But I think beyond that, it has to become then his choice as to whether he's involved or not.
Yeah, it's a bit too self-centered to think of children as like they're part of your life. You're also a part of their life. Like they have a life too, even if it's they're not. Their consciousness doesn't really form until 5-6 years old. The consciousness of what life is, and like death, all of those concepts don't exist, but they will. And when they will, you don't want them to get hit by a truckload of information that comes from like having been overly displayed on social media and stuff like that. People that I've never met them, and then they're like, "Oh yes, these pictures of you since you were born."
But even without the pictures on social media, that happens. Like we see fans outside the stage doors, and like, "Oh, and is Noah with you?" And they'll meet him. They're like, "Oh, we've met. We've heard so much about you. We've seen things." Like, wow. Yeah. And he's only 3, and we actually really don't put him on social media. So you can imagine what it would be like if we were to make that extra step and put him up there. I just wouldn't put him through that.
There are jokes that I do every time. Like I gag because I'm tired of doing them, but they still work.
Where's Noah?
Where's Noah? And then we both look at each other. We go, "Oh, like we forgot him." But seriously, people that have never met him, that we've never met, Like, hey, where's your son? Like, it's midnight. You know, we just sang an opera for 4 hours. Like, what?
Like,
Where
yeah,
do
we're
you
really
think he
good
is?
parents. We kept him in the room and up with us. You know, stay up, kid. Got to watch the opera.
Yeah, forgot him in the tuba case.
It's what, you know, it's the life that we chose for ourselves in terms of the career, but it's not a life that he's chosen for himself, and we're respectful of that.
Absolutely. We've had the same conversation. And
He might resent us for that later. We're totally aware of that.
There are
Like,
many
all my
reasons that's
friends
how
have
to go
all
to
these
therapy. That's
pictures.
probably one of them.
Yeah. No matter what we do it
All
wrong,
my
right?
friends were all over social media. Exactly.
You just can't do it right, so
Oh,
you make a
God.
choice. Go down the path.
Okay, I'm taking a lot of your time. Do you have time for my questionnaire?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I have 5 more questions, and we can go through them as
Okay.
quickly or as slowly as you want. It's up to you, however you want to do this. So the first question is, what is the best piece of advice that anyone gave you, or what is the worst piece of advice that anyone gave you? I'll accept either or both. It's up to you.
The best piece of advice, I don't even know where it came from because it's a friend of Etienne's that told him, but the best piece of advice I've ever heard is that everything is a phase. Good or bad, it's all a phase. If they're going through a terrible thing, you know it's going to be over soon. They're going through a great thing, you can be sad because it'll end at some point.
I don't know if you're watching this, but her name is Suzanne Crocker.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Yay.
But she did say that. It actually is very, very true. Everything is a phase. So sometimes it's soothing and sometimes it's, you know, disconcerting to think that like your little angel right now is going to become a monster again and vice versa.
So on that note, number 2, what did no one tell you that you wish they had told you about parenting?
Don't go to Australia with a 4-month-old baby.
Everyone told us that. Everyone told us that, and we still did it. What did no one tell us? No, I've got a bad one.
What?
Do it.
No one told. No, it's terrible.
What?
Give me the bad one.
It's complete TMI though.
Say it in my ear.
Okay, it's complete TMI. Please feel free to knock it out. And oh God, if people, wow, okay. So you're lucky it's you, Seth, so I wouldn't say 20 others. But no one told me that after you have a child, there are many muscles that don't go back into shape quickly.
That's what you're saying?
Yes, no one told me. I wish someone had told me that. Because I absolutely could not control my bladder for a good period after giving birth. And so there were moments where I would be changing Noah, and while he was having his accident, I was also having mine. And I wish someone had told me that.
You know what's weird too? We're talking about Wonder Woman here. This woman, I guess because of the sing muscle, but just how in shape she was, like she pulled through after giving birth, like it was nothing. Within a few hours, she was able to walk, and there was no like nausea, head spinning or anything. And then less than 24 hours later, we were at home. You know, like we were close to the hospital. We were already at home because we were resting so much better there. Like she was just like powering through like it was nothing. So yeah, of course, yeah. Once it happens that you had a little accident on it, like seriously, that can't be.
Yeah, but I wish someone had told me. That's all.
You were tough and you could walk everywhere, but you just left a trail of urine behind you.
Where's Nicole's follow the trail?
That's not true at all.
Yeah.
Okay, question 3. What is the one toy or piece of equipment, distraction, whatever, that you absolutely couldn't have survived without, as far as consoling or keeping him distracted, whatever, when he was a baby?
The one, it's very, I'm gonna say bébé. Is Doudou. It's a blankie that he just decided he loved. It took a while before we realized.
Slept with it all the time.
He named it bébé. We have no idea why, because we never said that. And even the first time, I remember the first time he pointed it to me and said bébé, and I was like, what is bébé? And like that's how we realized that he had a favorite blanket. And to this day, whenever he's sad, if he hurts himself, he always asks for mama and bébé in that order. And we lost it.
We lost it.
Lost bébé at the airport in New York. And I believe we both cried a lot more than he did.
I made the taxi driver drive us all the way back to the airport
Yeah.
and search around.
I went inside, made the
Me
people.
too.
Yeah, but it didn't work with you.
No, that
I
didn't
went
work me.
inside,
Yeah.
plead with the people to go and look around the carousel with the luggage, and they didn't find it, and the lost and found it, and they even said to me, you know, if we didn't find it, there's a good chance it's just the janitorial team that just threw it away. And we were like, his lifelong, because by that time it was his lifelong friend had just been thrown into the bins, and so we were like in tears.
But he does have a new baby now.
Nicole
really
found
does
another
like
baby
him.
that looked almost
It's
exactly
exactly
the
the
same.
same.
Within
You didn't even have to tell him that he
10
lost it.
hours.
Oh no, he
Oh,
knew.
he
And he
knew,
reminds
he
me.
knew.
He's
Okay.
like, this isn't my old baby mama. I'm like, I know it's not. I'm sorry.
But he behaves with it like it was. So like
Yeah.
for him it's fine, but for us it's like, can you believe we lost the thing
The
that
one
he
thing, the one thing.
he chose himself, you know, from like growing out of babydom to toddlerdom,
Yeah.
and we lost it.
Number 4. I like this one. I don't know. We'll see. What did your parents do when they were parenting you that you swore you would never do, but you ended up doing it anyway when you became a parent?
We've talked about this. I think it's early.
It's a bit early because
Too soon,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's only, you can't really remember that many things that your parents did
course.
at that. But I
Yeah.
just have a feeling that I'm going to go more into guilt than I would like to.
Mom guilt.
Yeah.
Powerful mom guilt.
Yeah,
Was mom guilt
I can
a
just
thing in
see
your
it
life?
happening already, and yes. We got guilted into doing so many things without even knowing it, and I just know that I'm going to use it on Noah, and I think I already have started, and I wish I didn't, but it seems to be a thing that I do. Sorry, Noah, more therapy.
Okay, last question, number 5.
Right.
I've never done this in my life, and I will very soon be doing it for the first time. So how do you change a diaper? Give me your technique, your secrets. Transfer your wisdom to me.
Okay. So, it's pretty simple. Undo, legs up, little wipe, take the nappy from underneath, take the other pre-prepared nappy, put underneath, legs down, over, wrap again.
You need 3 things, right? You need
cream, don't forget the cream.
You need the wipes, the cream, and the new nappy.
Mhm.
So that's the 3
Get
things.
it all
That's the 3
prepared
things you need to
beforehand.
bring with you, even on the plane. You bring them on the plane. You know, like you go, you have
And, like,
those 3
and to
things.
Japan, you're going to take like a dozen of them
Hmm.
on
Yeah.
the plane. Nappies.
Oh, on the plane. Yeah. Sorry,
It's a
I was
long
like,
trip,
Japan
yeah.
sells nappies.
No, on the plane.
I'm sure they have diapers in Japan that sing to you.
They probably change themselves.
Is a bidet included?
Like hops off, walks away, another one comes on.
So then the best thing to do is to have. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're doing your nappy?
Yeah.
You did the same thing?
No, I was just saying, like,
Oh.
then you need something close by to discard the old nappy, so
Like-
it goes quickly.
Like someone else?
Yeah, like someone else. Because no, seriously, these are all things that I think about, because otherwise you get stuck. Because remember, a baby can wriggle and fall. So you're holding a baby. With one hand, you have to handle everything else. So that full nappy, you don't want to just fall flat on the floor. You know what I mean? So there's that's all the stuff I was going through in my head when I was changing it.
I have a feeling most of the couples that I ask that question to, it's going to go very much like it did with you, whereas the woman is like, oh, it's a piece of cake, you just do da, 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 and then the man gives this long dramatic description because it's this epic event, you know?
It's like an IKEA thing. It's like step 1.
Well, that's it. There's one more thing I'd like to ask you about, and that's like during the quarantine, which we didn't really talk about much, which I'm really happy about because we're all tired of talking about it. But you,
Yay, too much quarantine talk.
Yeah, you did one really cool thing during the quarantine, Etienne, that I thought it would be cool for you to mention. Tell me about confinement songs. What was that about?
Yes. So the first thing that happened in the first week is that we found ourselves here in Paris, and of course, everyone will remember, I think, the first week of quarantining where they were just like, this is not gonna be so long, and we'll be fine. And I was like, I'll just give myself a little challenge, a little creative challenge. So I challenged myself to write a new song every day, based on something that would happen that day. And the first bout of quarantine that we had in France was for 14 days. So it was 14 songs. That's the first challenge I gave myself. Meanwhile, Nicole's on the couch thinking, how can I help people in Australia and make sure that they have, food and stuff. So she's creating a fund and I'm writing songs.
They're very good songs.
It's a very good fund.
Thank you.
So no, I loved writing those songs. I had to work quickly because Noah was taking a lot of energy and time.
Worked so quickly, really, like a song a day in maybe an hour or two, maybe.
Yeah. So the first song came it came from like, I could talk about every song, but the first song came from like a sentence that she said, and then that also was like tickling my brain. I was like, I'll try to use either something that someone says or something. And so pretty much every song has like an inspiration that's super absurd. Like the one from day 4 that you asked me if you could put in the show. Noah was watching TV and he was watching Angry Birds, and there was a bird with a tear in its eye. And I made a super serious song about it, but that's it. It comes from watching a bird with a tear in its eye on TV. That's what it was.
Hi, he convinced me.
I'm not excited.
Day 4.
Sun, look out, the sky is smiling. Has it ever been this blue? Up and down its silver lining. Has it ever looked so new? Sun, listen, the trees are growing. Do they even have a clue? All this time we spend on spending. Candles grow on trees too. Sun, look at this bird, it has been crying. A star in its eye, the world is shining. Sun, look down, the river's flowing. Hills have never rushed so true. All this time we spent on dreaming. Rivers, they have things to do. Sun, look at this bird, it has been crying. A star in its eyes, the world is shining. Look at this bird, it has been crying. Look at the world you're in. Take care of its song. Son, you are the world, and we sing along. Son, look at the sky, the bird is crying. A star in its eye, the world is shining. Look at this world, it has been crying. A star in the sky, the world is shining.
Stay well, stay safe.
Confinement song number 1, dedicated to all the parents out there. Day 1, this is fun. There is cooking to be done. There is food for everyone, but it's still just day 1. I like this. Together, we are all in this together. time is over. This is everything and better.